I'm Katrina, and this is Tare, and I'm going to start off this video with a clip from my freezer inventory video. If you haven't seen that video yet, I'll put a link up in the corner here, and you can watch that first, so you know what we're using. And we are making chili today.
So this is how I make chili, and I make chili. It's really good. I always like it, but this is how I make chili: is I go through and I look at leftover meat. One time I was volunteered to make chili because someone liked it, and I was like, oh, now I have to start from scratch and cook all the meat and do all this and do all that. And so really it's a leftover makings for me, but it's okay. I make it from scratch, and we can make it from scratch not leftovers too. So, but this is good because this is going through the freezer and using the stuff instead of letting it go to waste. Alright, for some of our chili we have already cooked meat, but for some of it we do not. So I'm just cutting open the bag. This is rabbit, and it is frozen right now, so I am gonna let it sit and thaw out here, I guess. I have a couple quail. And I have some turkey wings. Again, these are all frozen, so I'm going to have to wait for them to thaw out just a little. Those are 4 turkey wings, I think. And so basically, I'm just cooking these all together under the poultry setting. I'm going to guess on the poundage. I think it's 6 minutes per pound, so maybe 5 or 6 pounds. Let's say 6 pounds. So 6 minutes is 36 minutes. I think that's probably too much, but it'll be fine. This is all going into chili. I am also going to add in this beef. Mostly for the broth. I don't think I'm actually going to use the meat, but you can see how much it is. I'll make that decision later though, but this will give the broth a little bit more flavor. So the reason why I'm cooking this meat separately is because of the size of the bones. The rabbit bones and the turkey bones and the beef bones, those I can pick out easily, but the quail bones, sometimes you don't see the bone, you know, if it breaks apart when you're picking it through in a solution already, like if it's already in the chili, then I could miss a bone and I don't want someone to bite into bone. So that's why I'm doing that. So I'm going to do it. This is the extra step when you're dealing with meat that has not already been cooked and meat that has been cooked. And then also when you're dealing with small bones. So that's my reasoning. Alright, so we have our turkey wings, 6 turkey wings. There is like a T-bone steak that's like totally, it's totally frosty. So that's just for a little bit of flavor. I'm not going to, we'll decide. I don't think I'm going to actually use the meat. Quail, and 4 hind rabbit legs. So this is going to be a whole bunch of meat chili. Alright, so we're going to go close this up. Turn it. Go to seal and set it for 36 minutes. So I'm just taking the bone off. And shredding this with my hands. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can have large chunks and small chunks. Now, I have had this in the refrigerator for a couple days just because that's how things work here. This would be much easier to do when it's warm. Now I'm saving these bones. They're going to go back in the freezer for when it's time to make a bone broth. So it's not that important that I get all of the meat off. So I am going to leave that liquid in there, take this out, and unfortunately this is going back in the fridge because I gotta go to work. Alright, so I have this out of the refrigerator now. And what I thought was, actually when I did my freezer clean out, what I thought was pancakes from the outside is actually the belly flaps of rabbits. So this does have a little bit of flavoring on it, but I'm still going to put it in the chili. It's fine. But in order to do that, I am going to cut it up. I think it was a teriyaki, but it's such a small portion of the chili, I don't think it's going to make any difference in the overall taste. It turns out I think most of this is going to be rabbit, actually. Did I say chicken? I meant rabbit. The rabbit flaps. They're the abs. Alright, here's a chicken. I think I had chicken breast. I think I had seasoned it with paprika mostly, so that will go well with this. Pretty tender. And then this is that meat from the rabbit carcasses. There's our meats. Oops. That looks good. Now, I got some fancy tomato sauce in the store in 2022 when this was the only tomato sauce left and I was not getting tomatoes. So, I have it still. Alright, I think that's enough for this. I'm going to add some salt. This is Himalayan pink salt. About that much. I do have homegrown garlic, but I also have minced garlic from the refrigerator. So I'm going to try and use up this minced garlic. It's almost done. Not going to be able to do it all with this, but a good amount of garlic in here. Alright, I do like paprika. And this is how I cook these things. I don't measure. I just kind of have done it enough that I know. Now, I don't have pre-ground black pepper, so I'm going to be grinding quite a bit of black pepper into this. And I'll probably want more later, but that's what I'm gonna do now. And I'm missing my cumin, so I guess I'll have to go to the store after the live and get seasoning. So I'm using black beans, navy beans, and kidney beans for this. You can use any kind of bean or none at all. So I've rinsed these. I always check them as I'm putting them in, making sure we don't get any rocks. I would put more beans in. I'm only putting 2 cups of black beans and 2 cups of navy beans. I would put more, but there's so much meat in this that that's going to take up a bunch. I mean, I can also just make like chili beans without the meat if I wanted to, but I have all this meat in the freezer and I like to make good things with it. So here's one that doesn't look the greatest. You do find things every once in a while when you look through beans, so make sure you go through this process. And the rest of these look good. Alright, here's our white beans. The white ones are easier to go through for me to see if there's rocks. Alright, those look good. Alright, next up I am going to use a canned kidney bean. This is the only thing I use kidney beans for, and they're the only ones that you have to be concerned about not soaking and taking away the soaked liquid. These, you don't have to be concerned with that unless you're sensitive to them. And we're not sensitive to that, so that's not something I need to be concerned about. But it's easier for me to do this buying a canned one just because it's the only time I use it. So I'm going to drain and rinse these beans and pop them in here. And it's okay that they're already, you know, soaked up with liquid. That's fine. Actually, I think I'm just going to do 1 can. I did buy 2, but I think 1 will be sufficient for now. Next up is the jars of chicken. I need to do this quickly because the live's coming up. Alright, so I have 2 rabbit and 2, I think they're chicken and turkey mixture. The bone broth. There's the rabbit. It's pretty light. That's the second round one. Here's another rabbit. And we might only have enough for 1 more. Let's see. Here's turkey bone broth. I think I could do 1 more. It's probably pushing the limits of this thing, but I'm going to do it. Now, it's going to take a long time for this to get up to temperature because it's a lot of liquid. But my hope is by the time my live stream is done, that I can take this in. So I am going to add cumin and some other seasonings, but obviously I don't have cumin right now, so I'm just going to add that to the bottom of the jars when I do it. So, when I can it. Alright, I got that in right before my live, and it's going to cook. I set it for beans, and I did 45 minutes. We like our beans really cooked, and we'll go from there after the live. We'll start canning it. Alright, let's open this up. And
fog the camera.
Fog the camera up. Alright, well you guys can't see it, but this is cumin that has been ground up. And I'm just going to put that in. Maybe it comes off the plate. I don't know if this is enough cumin. We're going to taste it and see. I was going to put it in the jar individually, but this works.
You're moving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was bubbling before when I opened it first.
Yeah.
So we have the meat and the chili. I could have put more beans in there. I thought I had I thought I wasn't going to have enough of the liquid. That's okay. It is very soupy though.
Very liquidy.
Yeah. Alright. You want to taste it?
No, you can taste it and
Apparently I need more chili powder. Oh, that's like nothing. Yeah, okay. I'll put some cayenne, but we need chili powder. Maybe this isn't dinner tonight.
what?
Maybe this isn't dinner tonight. This is cayenne.
That's a lot of cayenne.
That is not a lot of cayenne for how much this is.
We'll see how spicy it is.
Alright, we have our canner set up. Back here I have lids and gaskets. You can use this kind, this is the Harvest Guard lids, or you can use regular regular old ball lids. I do have mostly wide mouth, which I have that kind for, and then I have a metal lid for my one regular mouth that I have. Because I'm in an area that has hard water, I'm going to be adding a splash of vinegar to this, and if you don't have hard water, you don't have to do that. If you do, I recommend you do. And we're going to boil that for 10 minutes. So I've heated up my chili again. Our lids are heated up. This sat in the fridge for several days. Sometimes canning projects work that way. Now I did end up adding some things, but oh, I think I showed you guys. I think I am going to add. I'm going to add just a little bit of cumin to each jar as I put it in, and we'll get this canned up. Alright, first things first, I am going to check all of these for cracks. I forgot to do that. These are warm jars that are clean. My method is to use a bowl so that when I bring my chili over, I don't drip it all over. Alright, we're leaving 1 inch headspace. Now, I know that I want to add more cumin, but I want to make sure that things taste right. Now, here's the thing. You can add spices at the end of this. You can add spices at the beginning of this. Just put it in the bottom of the jar or the top of the jar. When it goes through the canning process, it's going to mix it for you. So, here we go. So I'm just trying a little bit of the broth part, because I think it needs more cumin, but I don't know what else it needs. I'm going to put more garlic too. More garlic and cumin. But it's good. Smells so good. And I like a lot of cumin, so I'm going to put another tablespoon in. Might be too much for some people. Well, almost a tablespoon. I'll put in about that much. So that's probably 2 teaspoons. For those that don't know, a tablespoon is 3 teaspoons. And again, I'm trying to use up my store-bought minced garlic, so that's what we're using here. About that much. Might be a little too much. Put a little bit less than others. So this is another way that you can, you know, if different people like different things in your family, like let's say some people like spicy, some people don't, you can add things at this point, and you can just make it all at once, then add some of the seasonings that some of the family doesn't like, and make sure you mark which ones those are. But it makes it really easy to make a diverse meal if you need to. And we're going to debubble. This is fairly liquid, so I'm not too concerned. Actually, that mixes it in quite well. So at this point, if debubbling makes your levels change, you might have to add more. And I could have debubbled before I put in other stuff, but it's okay. Alright, I'm putting a little bit of white vinegar on this cloth here, and I'm going to go around the rims and wipe the rims, make sure we get anything that doesn't belong there off. There we go. I'm ready for the lids. Alright, we have the appropriate rings here. I have 2 regular mouth and 5 wide mouth. Now I like to use the Harvest Guard lids. It's a plastic lid, reusable, and it has a gasket. The gaskets get replaced after many uses. I haven't had to replace any yet, but the lid is reusable pretty much forever. Alright, so these centered. For the Harvest Guard lids, you want to put your finger through, put pressure down, and then it should go on easy. If it doesn't go on easy, you might be not threaded right. You can back it off and redo it. If that still doesn't work, you can, it could mean that the ring is bent. You can discard that ring, try a new one. Or save it for craft or whatever. But you're basically going until it's fingertip tight. I'm not cranking on it, I'm just fingertip. And same thing for this, except for you don't need pressure in the middle. There you go. Alright, so this water is heated up, as you can see. Next I'm going to use these handy dandy jar lifters to lift my jars in. I have a rack on the bottom to make sure that it is good to go and it doesn't rattle on the bottom, which could break jars. That's the reason the rack is there. And my canner fits 7 quarts. There we go. Put the lid back on. I've already oiled the seal here. Now, with these, you want to make sure the gap is the same all the way around. And that looks about right. Do an initial clamp down. Opposite, just like on a car tire. And I'm going to check it again. So I'm looking to see if this is even all the way around. And it is. I already looked to see that the valve is cleared before I put it on. And here we go. I'm gonna wait for the steam to go through here and a steady stream of steam for 10 minutes. So it's gonna take a while, even though it's heated up. Alright, there's our steady stream. It's been going for 10 minutes. I am at the elevation that 10 pounds of pressure is appropriate. Look up your elevation on your own. Put that on there, and when it does the first rattle, that's when we'll start our 75 minutes. First rattle's coming up. Alright, that's the first rattle. 75 minutes on the timer. That's an hour, 15 minutes. Also want to turn down the heat a little bit at this time. Now is when you are going to be adjusting your pressure, or adjusting your temperature to maintain that pressure. So read your manufacturer's instructions on how many times a minute that should rattle. At the beginning it's going to rattle a little bit more, but as you turn the heat down gradually, you'll get that rattle and then rest and then rattle. Alright, our timer just went off, so we're doing nothing up here. We're just going to go down here and turn this off. Now we're going to wait for this pressure gauge to go all the way to 0, and then we'll take this off. Alright, it's been enough time that this pressure is to 0, which means we're going to remove this jiggler with a hot pad and wait 2 minutes. Alright. 2 minutes have gone by. I'm going to take this lid off, unscrewing opposite and opposite, just like a car tire. Always open this away from you. So open slow and away from you. You don't want the pressure to change too fast. I'm going to turn on the fan a little higher. Alright, let's take this out. Bubbly. Alright, they look good. I'm going to, on the Harvest Right ones only, I'm going to be clamping down the lids. Don't need to do that with the metal ones. And we'll let them set for 12 to 24 hours and take off the bands.
This turned out to be some really yummy, yummy chili, and we have 7 jars in the pantry, and we had many meals out of the part still left in the pot. So this is a really good thing to do with your leftover meat. You can do this with any kind of meat too, so that's good. I hope you guys share this with someone who needs something to do with the meat in their freezer, or just is looking for a new kind of recipe to follow. All right, have a great day. Thanks for watching.